Section 76 is an open vision given to Joseph Smith and Sidney Rigdon on February 16, 1832. It was one of those revelations, like Section 93, that was not fully appreciated at the time it was given. For example, the promise that the faithful could become gods and goddesses was hardly talked about when this section was given. It was not until about 12 years later that the idea was emphasized by the prophet Joseph during the last few weeks of his life. Section 76 described a graded heaven with three primary degrees of glory: celestial, terrestrial, and telestial. First, it should be emphasized that each so-called degree was in fact a degree of glory. Not 1 degree of glory, the celestial, and 2 degrees of damnation, the terrestrial and the telestial. Although the idea of multiple degrees of glory seems reasonable to us today, this was not the case at the time the vision was given. Even stalwarts like Brigham Young had trouble accepting it. It was controversial enough that Joseph Smith asked the missionaries not to refer to it when preaching to possible converts, but rather to stick to the basics of faith, repentance, and baptism. As Grant Underwood has pointed out, the reticence of members of the church to accept this revelation reflected centuries of tradition where the polarities of heaven and hell were a given. Thus, in the world into which Mormonism was born, it was customary to conceptualize men as either a saint or a sinner, righteous or wicked, bound for heaven or headed for hell. It was all part of the cultural baggage early converts carried with them into the church. It was not until the last 16 months or so of the prophet's life that he seems to have fully grasped, or at least spoken publicly, about the implications of Section 76.